new twist on a story I hadn't heard before. And
Yes.
and I wanted to, when I asked you about how did Bright Eyes affect your life, something you left out was that in the middle of the 1930s, you were like the #2 box office star in the country for like 2 years, right behind Shirley Temple.
No, I was 6, 8, and then 11
Yeah,
for 3 years in a row of all the stars.
yeah, yeah.
Shirley was always first, and she was first for 3 years, and I was 6, 8, and 11 for the next 3 years. But I was the only star in B movies that was in the first 10 box office, and the first star that had ever been in the first 10 box office that only did B movies. But I was so upset because Alice Faye was like my second mother, and I was ahead of Alice Faye in the first 10 box office, and also Fred and Ginger, whom I loved and adore.
Yeah.
And it upset me so much because I was ahead of them. And Alice said, "Sweetheart, you should be in top spot and not sixth spot." And she said, "Don't you ever worry about being ahead of me. You are where you belong at the head of the list." Oh, she was such a darling lady. I loved her so much.
Yeah, I remember reading that Shirley was jealous of Alice Faye because Alice Faye used to flirt with Jimmy Dunn, and Shirley Temple considered Jimmy Dunn her private property. That was her boyfriend.
Oh, I never heard such a thing, ever.
Well,
I'm sure it must.
yeah.
I don't know. It sounds like something somebody just made up in publicity.
Well, I read it in a book, and authors just want to sell books sometimes, so you never.
That's something.
You never know. Well, one last question. My wife wanted to know, how are you doing today? I know you were writing like 3 autobiographies simultaneously, I think you said?
I'm working on my 5th.
Oh my God.
I tell you, I'm having the best time. I grab a bunch of stills from my career. In the last 7 months, I have been going through, are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
5,169 photographs since I came out of the womb. And I can't believe I've had that many pictures taken of me. But I have an awful lot of pictures. I used to have my little Brownie camera I've always had, a Kodak camera all my life. And I've taken many, many photographs of all the different stars at the studio and all my animals and my friends. I would rather have a photograph than the Hope Diamond. I love photographs of friends and sweet people that I know and care about. And I love all my animals that I had as a child. I have one whole wall that's nothing but the animals in my life. I had many, many. I had a half an acre. They were all orphan dogs, cats. I had a pair of baby deer that my daddy had gone hunting and found these 2 baby deer somebody had killed their mother. Can you imagine?
Oh, terrible.
And Daddy, he couldn't go on with his trip. He came back home and brought me the baby deer. I took them to the zoo and said, "How do I take care of them?" And I had those deer for 5 years. So they grew up and they had babies. But then they got so tall and so big, and his antlers was so enormous that I didn't feel that they had enough room in the half of acre I let them run in. So we took them to the zoo, and I would go twice a week to visit them at the zoo with the other herd of deer. And I would whistle a certain whistle, and out of all those deer at the zoo, you'd see the little ears go up, and they would run to the fence to see me and rub up against the fence. And they would put my 2 babies, well, they weren't babies, of course, they were adult deer, but they would put them in a special area so I could go in and play with them. And oh, they licked my hands, they licked my arms, they were so happy to see me. And until those deer passed away, I would see them every week and go and visit them.
Wow, that's sweet. Well, you're mentioning the pictures of you with animals in our bathroom. We have pictures of different movie stars that we love, and you're one of them. We have a postcard of you posing with, it looks like a little German Shepherd puppy. And
Well, that was Rex, R-E-X.
Rex.
I've had 39 dogs in my life.
But you remember Rex. Well,
Oh,
Jenny scanned it and put it on her Facebook page to, talk about tomorrow night's movie and promote it. And she said she's gotten dozens of people liking and commenting that picture, asking for more. So she scanned another postcard of you with the bangs. Probably, I'm looking at the picture now. It looks like you're about 7 or 8 years old, and put that
for
up.
heaven's sake.
And dozens more people are just going crazy. They're Jane Withers fans. They're just like, oh, a picture they hadn't seen yet.
Isn't that sweet? Well, I'm including like the pictures of one book is called The Men in My Life, and it says, Dear Reader, if you think for 1 minute that this is another expose of a child growing up in Hollywood, get your money back. This is a sincere thank you to each of the gentlemen that have come into my life that have taught me so many wonderful things and given me such specially happy memories. To each and every one, I'll be forever grateful. And all the pictures I've taken of the different gentlemen that have come into my life, and of course it's dedicated to my dad and my grandfathers and my stepfather, Dr. Louis Boone Shaft, who incidentally worked with Jonas Salk and created the serum that helped cure tuberculosis.
Wow.
He was my stepfather, and a wonderful, wonderful gentleman, and all the different men that have come into my life that have taught me so many wonderful things. And, of course, then I have the women in my life dedicated to my precious mother, my grandmothers, and all the ladies that have done the same thing and teaching me so many wonderful things in my life. And my teacher from Fox that I had all my life. I never went to school with other children. I couldn't. I didn't have enough time. Every minute of my life was planned for me when I was a child growing up. And Mother made sure that I used to have to work on Saturdays. But then after I was 10 years old, I did 5 movies a year, every year. And I did 6 weeks, the beginning and the end of each year, of personal appearance tours. And she said, Jane needs a day for herself. Sunday is dedicated to church and Sunday school, and all of her friends, all of our friends, we have a big barbecue every Sunday for over 100 people. They come every Sunday after Sunday school and church, and she needs a day for herself to be with her friends and play and do whatever she wants to do. Well, whatever I wanted to do is always see movies. I still would rather see a movie than anything. And we'd go to the studio in the beginning before we had a projection room in our home. But I'd have 10 or 12 kids that would come with me to the different movies, and my bodyguard would drive the cars, and we would take all of us to different movies, but we'd call the theater. And a lot of times they had a balcony, but they would close the balcony on Saturday, and they would put me and my friends in the balcony so we would be away from all the other people. Otherwise, they'd all come down during the movies and want to autograph and talk to me, and I never got to see the movies. So they were kind enough to put me in the balcony so we could see the movies, and then we'd all have lunch somewhere. And it was just, I loved Saturdays. And then, of course, I had many animals. I had 3 horses also that I would ride every day. And Mother said, you can have all the animals you want, but they're your responsibility. And you have to feed and take care of them. Well, I had so many that I had to hire 5 different men to take care of all the different animals. And we had a half an acre of nothing but orphan animals that people would bring them and put them through our gates. We had big iron gates to come up the hill to our home. And where the iron gates were, the rails in between, there was just enough room that you could get a kitty cat or a puppy dog in there. And so many people would bring me different pets and animals and put through the gates.
Aww.
And, of course, we had guards there also, so they would call on the speaker up to the kitchen where the information desk was. And they would say some more animals have arrived from Jane. We're bringing up a puppy or a dog or whatever, a rabbit, a skunk. They had a skunk that was de-skunked. To this day, my name is Stinky. And then Stinky had a friend named Pew. We had Stinky and Pew for my little